I hope everybody enjoyed their holidays, but I've got a ton of movies to talk about that I picked up in December, so let's just jump into this. A buddy of mine grabbed me a copy of the uncut 4K release of Possessor, so I didn't have to drive an hour and a half to get it, so thanks man. Possessor is the newest Brandon Cronenberg film, and it's pretty good. I mentioned in my top 10 of 2020 video, so check that out for a more in-depth review. The film follows a secret agent that's transplanted into a person's head and then operates from there. It has some striking visuals and a very, very interesting story, but it's one that might not be as good on a second viewing. The 4K Blu-ray combo pack does come with some deleted scenes and a behind the scenes with trailers. It's a pretty good film and I would definitely recommend it. Come on, you see Arnie and Jackie on the cover, you know I'm in. And I really love this one. It was an honorable mention of my 2020 video. This is by no means a good film, but it is a super fun film. It's funny, over the top, and cheesy, and I loved it. There are some major issues with this one for sure, but it adds to the experience rather than takes away from it. According to the back, there's no special features here, unfortunately, but either way, I would recommend this one for sure if you go in with an open mind. Get some snacks and some drinkies and enjoy. Tenet is the newest Christopher Nolan film, and in my opinion, probably his weakest. The opening scene is amazing, it's heart-pounding, we get this great action set piece and score, but the film never really reaches that height again. The plot and the pacing to me felt very sloppy. If you're gonna do a movie about time, then you should probably have a pretty tight and clean script, and I don't feel like this one does. Also, Nolan's constant aspect ratio changing is wickedly annoying in this one. It's normally pretty annoying, but here it's just in between random shots and makes no sense whatsoever why it was shot that way. As for special features, you get over an hour of the making of, but this one I was just kind of disappointed in. Now, one of the worst movies of 2020 was the follow-up to the amazing Train to Busan, which is Peninsula. It's hard to believe that Peninsula is even made by the same team. Train to Busan had such rich characters and great action set pieces, and this film has neither. Most of the film is on a green screen or CGI, and it looks awful. It's an incredibly fake-looking film. There's some fun ideas, sure, but overall it's a massive slog to get through, and a slap in the face to even be tied to Train to Busan. For bonus features, you get a making of, some interviews and trailers, but I really wouldn't recommend this one. Just go watch Train to Busan again. The Dark and the Wicked is by Brian Bertino, the director of The Strangers, and it's okay. Honestly, this film started off very strong, but got worse as it went on. The CG moments look pretty bad for the most part, and the pacing just falls apart as the film goes. Performances are all pretty good, and there's some good visuals, but by the end of the film, it's pretty alright. With the Blu-ray, you get a Q&A from Fantasia with Martin Island and Michael Abbott Jr., and that's about it. It's not really bad, and it's pretty cheap at the time of making this video, so if you're interested, try it out. Alone sold me on the fact that the main villain looks like Ned Flanders, played by James Hetfield, and I loved it. This is actually a really great small thriller that would have been one of my honorable mentions if I didn't limit myself to a certain number. Both leads are great, and the ending is fantastic. It's also nice to see a film where the main character doesn't make all the dumbest choices because, you know, script. It's pretty well thought out and heart-pounding at times. The release only comes with a making of, which I wouldn't mind checking out at some point, but I would definitely recommend this one. My buddy grabbed me a copy of The Irishman during the Criterion sale when it was released. This is the latest Marty Scorsese flick, and it's pretty good. I definitely think the film has some issues with the de-aging, but overall it's a pretty great epic. Robert De Niro and Al Pacino are great here, but the real show stealer is Joe Pesci in my opinion. I will say I wish Netflix would have used the original title of I Heard You Paint Houses. It's just such a cooler title. Either way, I'm really glad Criterion put this one out. This thing is loaded with special features, including a roundtable with Scorsese, De Niro, Pesci, and Pacino, a making of, a video essay by film critic Farin Smith Neum, a featurette about Frank Sheeran Appreciation Night scene, featurette on the de-aging effects, interviews with real-life Frank Sheeran and Jimmy Hoffa, trailer and teaser, plus a booklet by Geoffrey O'Brien. Actually, this next little lot is from the same buddy as well. He grabbed me a copy of Jim Jarmusch's classic Ghost Dog. I've had a copy of this DVD for a long time, and it's a film that I really love. I think it might be my personal favorite performance by Forrest Whitaker, and I've been waiting for a Blu-ray of this one for a long time. I was really happy to hear Criterion was releasing a version. The Criterion release does come with a Q&A with Jim Jarmusch, conversation between Forrest Whitaker and Isaac DeBunkel, interview with casting director Ellen Lewis, interview with Shifu Shi Young Ming, a featurette on the music in Ghost Dog, a making of, deleted scenes and outtakes, archival interviews, trailer, and a booklet featuring a handful of essays. My buddy found this dope box set of Black Friday for Night of the Living Dead. Thanks for grabbing me a copy because this is a really cool set. There's just so much in this thing. It comes with a commemorative ticket double-sided, 8 special edition lobby cards, a poster, graphic novel, and the Criterion release of the film. This is a movie I haven't seen in a long time, since probably around like high school, so I'll definitely have to rewatch it again sometime. It's one that I've always wanted to grab for a while, but just never really did, and now I'm really glad I waited. The Criterion release does come with a featurette featuring Robert Rodriguez, Frank Darabont, and Guillermo del Toro. Never before seen 16mm dailies, a featurette on the production company, audio commentary tracks by Romero, Russo, Carl Hardman, and Judith O'Dea, archival interviews, a featurette on the film's style and score, featurette about the direction, interviews with Gary Striener and Russell Striener, newsreels from 1967, trailer, radio spots, TV spots, and an essay by Stuart Flawans. This is a really awesome set. It's really cool. I think the last thing my buddy picked up for me was the Kick-Ass 4K Steelbook. He found it used for like dirt cheap, and I'm really glad because this is a cool release of one of my favorite films ever, which is why it's the pick of the month. I've seen Kick-Ass probably a dozen times. It's one of the few movies I'd give a 10 out of 10 to. It's super fun with great characters and villains and has some super rememberable scenes. I've had this one on Blu-ray for a really long time, so to upgrade not only to 4K, but this awesome steelbook, I love it. For special features, you get a making of, a featurette about the graphic novel it's based on, audio commentary from Matthew Vaughn, who I think is a super underrated director, a marketing archive, and a gallery of the art of Kick-Ass. This is a movie I think is an essential viewing if you're a fan of action, comedy, or superhero movies. I've waited for a while for the price drop before grabbing Batman Death in the Family because it's not really a movie. It's a choose your own adventure kind of thing, but the animation's pretty solid, the voice performances are all good, but the interaction aspect kind of takes away from the experience and disrupts the story. The one thing I do like about it is it's very easy to go back and pick all the different paths to see every aspect of the story, but from my understanding, if you stream this movie, then you don't get to choose your own pathway. It's just a movie front to finish, and I kind of wish that was included with this release. What's cool with this release though is that you get a good handful of DC short films. It's not a bad story, it's just I'm glad I waited for a price drop. I upgraded Autumn to the Blu-ray for Nightmare Before Christmas. I came across it for a really good price at Best Buy, and after rewatching it, this is such a classic movie. Every aspect of this film is pretty good. The animation's great, the voice acting's pretty good, the music and pacing overall, it's a classic for a reason. It's a fun, quick watch that feels truly timeless. The sing-along edition does come with both the theatrical release and the sing-along edition, deleted scenes, a making of, audio commentary track with Tim Burton, Henry Selick, and Danny Elfman, a couple of Tim Burton shorts such as Vincent and Frankenweenie, Tim Burton's original poem narrated by Christopher Lee, and Jack's Haunted Mansion Holiday Tour. This is one I feel like almost everybody's watched at some point or another. It's a holiday classic for a reason. I mean, it really is. I grabbed from Target the Lego Movie 2, the second part. I've waited for a while for a price drop on this one, and I know it's been a reasonable price for a while. I just didn't grab it until I came across it with a slipcase still, and decided to finally jump on it. I love the first Lego movie and the Lego Batman movie, and while I enjoyed Lego 2, I don't think it's anywhere near as good as the first or the Batman movie. The Blu-ray does come with some deleted scenes, a making of, and music video. It's a pretty fun movie overall with great animation, and I wouldn't mind checking it out again. I mean, maybe I'll like it better on a second viewing. I picked up Treasure Planet from a recommendation from my buddy Bear. I haven't watched it yet, and I'm waiting because me and a couple of my buddies are thinking about maybe starting up a podcast where we're going to be talking about Treasure Planet. Not sure if it will be uploaded or not, but if it is, I'll do my thoughts there. This is one though that I'm pretty excited to watch because I'm not entirely sure if I've seen this or not. If I have seen it, it's been so long that I remember like nothing about it. But the Blu-ray does come with visual commentary with the making of while the film plays, some deleted scenes, alternate ending, and original prologue, and music video. This is one that has a really interesting story that Bread Sword did a whole video about the basically Disney killing the production side of this, the marketing side of this film. So I definitely would recommend checking that video out, and I'm excited to watch this one. Swallow is a movie that very easily could have been an honorable mention in my best of 2020 video. The film follows a housewife of a wealthy man who struggles with pica during her pregnancy. That leads to some truly uncomfortable scenes. Haley Bennett gives a stunning performance as the lead here, and the film offers up some striking visuals as well. The Blu-ray only comes with the theatrical trailer and an audio descriptive track, but I really enjoyed this one. It feels like it handles everything fairly well, and it's one I would definitely recommend. Autumn mentioned that she wanted to see R100 after hearing about it in a YouTube video. It's a film I've heard about but don't know too much about. It was put out by Draft House Films, so I figured it would be kind of hard to get a hold of, but I looked it up on Amazon and saw a listing on Amazon for a 3-pack including this, The World of Kanako, and Why Don't You Play in Hell. All of them was put out by Draft House and it was for around $50. I figured it'd probably be like one of those multi-packs where all 3 movies are on one disc, but the reviews on it was saying that it was the individual Draft House releases just bundled together. So when I got them in and saw that it was actually all 3 individual Draft House releases, I bought shit bricks, because Why Don't You Play in Hell, a film that I've wanted to see for a really long time, goes for a ton of money on its own, and the other films seem really interesting as well. R100 is a ton of fun. It's a film about a man who hires an S&M club to randomly come and dominate him. It has a lot of twists that I don't want to spoil. It's just a really fun, over-the-top movie that gives a good lead and some really gross and hilarious moments. The film comes with reversible artwork, a booklet, theatrical trailer, and other Draft House film trailers, and it's one I would definitely recommend. Another one in this set was The World of Kanako. This is one I've been curious about for a little while, and I think it's probably the weakest out of the 3. I love the idea of the story about a father trying to find his missing daughter, a daughter he really knows nothing about, and it's a very nihilistic film, and it has a good sense of energy, but there's some major pacing problems. The film tries a lot of different ideas, and while when they work it's great, when they don't work it's really distracting and drags the film down. As for special features though, you get a making of, interviews, a booklet, reversible artwork, and a fold-out poster and trailers. It's definitely one that's pretty interesting and I would probably recommend overall, but it definitely has its flaws. Why Don't You Play in Hell is one I've always felt stupid on not buying, because it's a movie I really wanted to see for a while, so when I saw it was in this 3-pack I was pretty happy. This one is outrageously priced because it's out of print, but this is a great movie. I really need to get into more of Shion Sono's films because the ones I've seen I've really loved. The film follows the Fuck Babas, a small group of friends who love to try to make like these low budget films, and they end up making a movie out of a real Yakuza war. It has a great sense of energy and it's fun, but the ending of this film is great. It has such an amazing climax. The characters are all pretty well developed, and this is one that was highly up there for contender for pick of the month. The Blu-ray comes with a press conference with Sono, a 11x17 fold-out poster, a booklet, and theatrical trailers. If you can find this one, get it. It's good. I forgot, but another movie my buddy Mike grabbed for me this month was Cobra, starring Stallone. This is one I've put off getting for a long time because I was hoping to find it with a slipcase, and he came across a used copy with a slipcase for a good price, so thanks for grabbing it. This is a fun, dumb movie, and I haven't seen it in a while, so I definitely have to give it a rewatch at some point. This is put out by Scream Factory, so we get a ton of special features, including interviews with Brian Thompson, Marco Rodriguez, Andy Robinson, Lee Garlington, Art LaFleur, commentary with George P. Cosmatos, vintage featurettes, teaser trailer, theatrical trailer, and still gallery. My buddy Bear got me for Christmas the 2004 Hellboy 4K Best Buy exclusive steelbook, and I love it. I mean, look at that artwork. It's basically the same as the graphic novels, and it looks great. I love Hellboy as a character, and the 2004 film is amazing. Ron Perlman is a perfect Hellboy, and it honestly might be one of the greatest casting choices of all time. I mean, it's perfect in every way. He was made for that character, and that character was made for Ron Perlman. I hope they do the second film in this same kind of steelbook style. I'm slowly getting some 4K stuff slowly. Thanks again though, man, for the Christmas gift. It's pretty awesome. I went pretty light this year for the Severn Black Friday sale, but one of them I had to get was The Theater Bazaar. It's a film I've been curious about for a little while, and how much I loved Caller Out of Space. I've wanted to check out some more of Richard Stanley's other works. This is a horror anthology, and much like anthologies, some are better than other. Stanley's short films being one of the better ones, but my favorite was the segment Vision Stains by Karim Hussein. As far as anthologies go, this is one of the better ones for sure. I jumped on it early because it's a limited edition digipack that was supposed to be Black Friday exclusive. That comes with the soundtrack, and as for special features, you get 2020 filmmakers commentary, 2012 filmmakers audio commentary, making of feature-length documentary featuring interviews with Douglas Buck, Buddy Giovanzo, David Gregory, Karim Hussein, Jeremy Caston, Tony Savini, Richard Stanley, Daryl J. Tucker, for Bryce Labat, Michael Ruggiero, Udo Kier, Katrona McCole, Lynn Lowry, Victoria Moretti, Kanehito Horn. I know I'm pronouncing names wrong, I apologize. The French TV on-set report about Richard Stanley's return to filmmaking, a bunch of shock to you drop segments, and Mother Toad's extended cut with trailers. Autumn grabbed The Attic Expeditions from the Severance sale, and it's a pretty decent mystery movie about mental illness that feels very early 2000s. This release also comes with the soundtrack as well, and honestly, I remember enjoying watching it, but looking back on it to write this segment, I don't really remember very much about the film other than it feels like a horror movie from the early 2000s. You know, a lot of green, blue, and red with Dutch angles and some flashy cuts. The Blu-ray does come with cast and crew Pandemic Reunion, featurette with Adam Rockoff, an interview reunion with Alice Cooper and Jeffrey Combs. If you're interested in this one, Severin did a good job with it, so check it out. On my journey for more Richard Stanley, I grabbed his documentary The Other World, and it was okay. Honestly, it meanders a lot. It feels like it could have been trimmed down to around 40 minutes easily. It's basically about Stanley's encounter with a spiritual ghost and the spirituality of the area he was in, and those parts of the documentary are really interesting. The documentary uses some trippy imagery really well, but it doesn't feel very focused. It feels like it goes off in other areas before being reined back in. The special features include a making of, deleted scenes, and trailer, but this release also comes with 3 other of Stanley's documentaries, including Voice of the Moon, The White Darkness, and The Secret of Glory, that I'll have to check out at some point as well. Stanley is a really interesting guy, so I want to check out more of his stuff regardless. Another contender for pick of the month is Ninja Scroll. This is an anime film that's been on my watch list for a long time, and after watching it, this is a must-watch anime classic. I finally got around to picking it up on Amazon's Black Friday sale. They had some animated stuff on sale, including some DC stuff coming up. The film follows a lone samurai that saves a ninja from a monster, and he kind of gets caught in the middle of this violent war. First off, if you're going to watch this in the original Japanese language, because the dub on here that plays by default is terrible. It's really bad. The animation is stunning, and the film never holds anything back when it comes to violence. It's a fun and dark story that's riveting with great action set pieces. One of my favorite was the blind samurai that he fights in the bamboo forest. If you've seen the film, you probably know what I'm talking about, because that scene was pretty great. The only special feature you really get is the Japanese commentary from the director and the animation director. Either way though, I can't recommend this one enough. Another one that could have got an honorable mention in my 2020 list is Mortal Kombat Legends: Scorpion's Revenge. This was such a bloody good time. It feels true to nature to the game series, which being animated, it gets a lot more liberties than being live action. It's from the same studio that does the DC films, and the animation's on par with them as well. The action set pieces are a lot of fun and as violent as any other Mortal Kombat game would be. I also really like the use of the X-ray vision element in the film. It's definitely hard-hitting for sure. For special features, we get a featurette on turning the game into an animated feature, the weapons wardrobe in the World of Mortal Kombat Legends featurette, behind the scenes of the sound design, and filmmakers commentary. I grabbed Justice League Dark Apokolips War because it was a good price. I haven't watched this one yet because I'm wanting to get the rest of the Dark films, the rest of the Justice League Dark films. I just decided to jump on this one early because of the price. I mean, I've really enjoyed most of the DC animated line so far, so why not? For special features, we get commentary from the filmmakers, sneak peek at Superman Man of Tomorrow, 3 from the DC Vault bonus cartoons, and Darkseid New God Classic Evil. Unfortunately, my slipcase for Superman Man of Tomorrow came pretty scratched up. I personally have never really liked Superman as a character. He's just way too overpowered for me to get behind. But I like some of the DC animated films, but I wasn't too crazy on this one. This is close to the start of Superman when Lobo shows up in Alien Parasite and Superman must save the world, as he typically does. The animation here isn't as strong as some of the other releases. It has a much bolder character lines, and that makes it look kind of cheaper. Voice performances are decent, but I just couldn't get into this one that much. The Blu-ray does come with Lobo and Martian Manhunter featurettes, a sneak peek at the next animated DC film, and 2 bonus cartoons from the DC Vault. If you're interested in this one, check it out. The last of the DC animated films from the Black Friday order was Deathstroke, Knights and Dragons, and this movie was boring. I love Deathstroke as a character, so I was pretty excited to see this one. And while some of the action set pieces are a lot of fun, there's just a bunch of exposition that was super boring and uninteresting. For a movie that's only 87 minutes long, it feels a lot closer to like a 2-hour movie. As for special features, we get a Deathstroke featurette, and that's pretty much it. From my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this was supposed to be a TV series, I thought, and then it was turned into a movie instead. And if that's true, that could kind of explain why the film seems to take forever. A series definitely could have developed developed everything more, but the film, even though there's a bunch of dialogue and exposition, feels like nothing really gets developed. I wanted to pick up The Waterboy a while back when I made the craft video because I wanted to reference the film, but I couldn't find it anywhere in store or on Amazon. I ended up ordering off of Best Buy when I ordered some stuff for Autumn for Christmas because it was only $5.99. This is like one of my favorite Adam Sandler films. I know it's very stupid, but I love this one. It's goofy and doesn't try to be anything else while having some really rememberable and quotable lines. This release unfortunately doesn't seem to come with any special features, but it's a movie I love and I feel like it should have been in the collection a long time ago. This month's horror pack came with Z, and it's terrible. It's a pretty cool premise about a kid's imaginary friend maybe being real and causing a lot of problems, but the film shows you the friend and it is so stupid looking. It feels very similar to Lights Out, but done way worse. The lead actress, Keegan Connor Tracy, does a pretty decent job, honestly. She kind of carries the film, but no one else really gives that good a performance, and the child actor playing the main kid was terrible. It's full of dumb character decisions, and as for special features, this being the Canadian release, I know Shudder has released this too. They might have some different special features, but on this one you get a director's commentary, behind the scenes, deleted scenes, a handful of featurettes, a VFX reel, gag reel, and trailer, but this is one I probably wouldn't recommend. A Cadaver Christmas is the horror pack exclusive for this month, and it's super fun. It's basically a zombie outbreak movie set on Christmas Eve, but this is a very, very low budget film that has a lot of passion and character with it. It plays up to be very cheesy and goofy, and that goes a long way considering its budget and the actors' abilities. It's styled very much like a grindhouse film with Ken Burns and film damage. The gore effects are cheap and cheesy, but we just had a blast watching this. It has some truly funny moments, and one that could easily be a holiday staple for us. I would definitely recommend checking this one out. In the November horror pack, they sent us The Conjuring, and in December they sent us The Conjuring 2, so that's kind of cool. I've never been the biggest fan of this series of films, but I don't think they're bad either. I just don't think they're anything special. But I do think 2 is worse than 1. Much like the first film, The Conjuring 2 does come with some special features, including a real-life story based on, a making of, and deleted scenes. This is one I don't remember too much from theater, so I'll have to rewatch it, but I feel like my feelings are probably going to stay the same like they did with The Conjuring. And the last thing that the December horror pack sent us was Mother Krampus. We still haven't watched this one yet, might have to wait until next Christmas to watch it. It seems like a knockoff Krampus movie trying to ride out the success of Krampus, but it could be fun. Doesn't seem like there's any special features on this one, but overall seemed like a decent horror pack, I think. I'm curious to see what January brings for sure. I got Autumn a couple movies for Christmas this year, and one of them being Rocketman from 1997. I don't want to talk too much about this one because I'm in the process of making a video about it. It may be up by the time this video is finished, or if not, pretty close behind it. It's part of the weird movie series I'm doing, and this is a film from Autumn's childhood that she loves, so I'm excited to talk about it. There's no special features on this one, so just be on the lookout for that video. Another one of her weird movies I got Autumn for Christmas was May. This is a bizarre horror film that will also be a part of the weird movie series, and I'm not too sure when that one will be out, but I remember really enjoying this one, so I'm kind of excited to revisit it. For special features, you get cast and crew commentary, production commentary, and international trailer, but this is one that I just remember being really weird and bizarre that did have quite a bit of an atmosphere. And the last movie I grabbed for Autumn this Christmas was The Pest. This is another one I'll be covering in my Weird Movies My Wife Makes Me Watch series, because this is a truly weird movie. Unfortunately, all the movies I got her still basically have no Blu-ray release and are only on DVD. They might have like region-locked releases, so hopefully that might change in the future. This is a really strange movie that I would highly recommend looking up the intro to on YouTube. You'll pretty much know what this movie is going to be like just from the intro. For special features, you get a director's commentary, bonus previews, talent files, and making of featurettes. Be on the lookout for some of those videos. My mom got Autumn a Beauty and the Beast double pack featuring the original animated film and the newer 2017 remake. We've had the original animated film on Blu-ray for a while because it's one of Autumn's all-time favorite movies. This double pack does have the 25th anniversary edition of the animated feature, so that's pretty cool. I don't think Autumn was the biggest fan though of the remake, but who would have thought that it's probably one of the better Disney live-action remakes so far. I'm personally not the biggest fan of the Beauty and the Beast story, but I can see why Autumn loves it so much. I don't think the double pack comes with any special features, or at least there's not any listed on the back, but we at least now have a copy of the remake, so that's pretty cool. Mom got me for Christmas a DVD copy of the 2017 It. I personally really enjoyed the first It remake, but I kind of hated the sequel. I just think this part of the story is a lot more interesting and the fear works a lot better here. Again, on the back it doesn't say anything about special features, but it's just kind of cool to add it to the collection, so thanks Mom. The other movie Mom got me for Christmas was the '89 Burton Batman on DVD. I've had this one on Blu-ray for a little while, but I really love the slipcase artwork on this one. I don't know why, it's just simple and it looks great. I've always liked this version of Batman, but it's been a while, and I mean a while since I've watched it, so I'm going to have to revisit it sometime here soon. The back of this one, not on the slipcase, but the case itself, says it comes with some production notes, so that's kind of cool. Thanks again, Mom, for the Christmas. One of the last things from this month, and one that ended up on my honorable mentions, and another very close contender for pick of the month, was Undertaker: The Last Ride. This is an intimate look at the end of a 30-plus year career of the professional wrestler, The Undertaker. It's an honest look into not only Mark Calloway himself, but the business as well. It gives you a lot of insight on the people who work it. I grew up a wrestling fan, and even though I don't keep up with it nowadays, I will always be nostalgic for it. This is a great docuseries that is a must-watch for anyone who used to or still watches wrestling, and those who don't or never have, I would still highly recommend this one. It's a really good character study. And that's pretty much it for the December update. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And just kidding, here's some Dollar Tree stuff. I found Baytown Outlaws. I've never heard of this one, but the back says it's a bloody grindhouse romp, and it has Billy Bob Thornton in it, so for $1, I'm sold. I still haven't watched this one yet, and it's one I'll probably just add to the box and watch later, but it does look like it could be a lot of fun. For special features, you get a trailer and behind-the-scenes featurette, so we'll see how it is in the future. I also found this documentary on Whitey Bulger. He was a real-life mobster that the movie Black Mass was based off of, and I would highly recommend Black Mass. He's an interesting figure, but I haven't gotten around to the documentary yet. For documentaries, I kind of have to be in the right mood, but I do want to check this one out at some point, so it may not go in the box. I may just try to watch it one night. The release comes with some deleted scenes, Sundance interviews, and theatrical trailer. Again, though, I would definitely recommend Black Mass. Battle for Incheon Operation Chromite is a Korean war film that also has Liam Neeson in it, and it's pretty okay. Honestly, I don't remember very much about this one. I got it toward the beginning of December and watched it then, and yeah, like I remember characters kind of, but as far for the story, I'm kind of just drawing a blank on it. I gave it a 5 on IMDb, so that should probably just say enough. I don't really have a good reason why I've waited so long to pick up Lego Batman, but now I'm glad I did because I found it for $1. I really love this one, but I've only seen it once, which was in theaters, so I'm going to have to rewatch this one sometime here soon. If you've seen the other Lego movies, then you know the animation is great. Personally, I think Will Arnett plays a great comedic Batman, and if you're a fan of Batman, this is a ton of fun. We do get 4 new animated shorts, some deleted scenes, and a handful of featurettes, so I'm really glad to get this one. Another awesome find this month at Dollar Tree was War Dogs. This is a film by Todd Phillips and probably has one of my favorite performances by Jonah Hill. Basically, Jonah Hill and Miles Taylor play these younger kids who gets like a gun running contract from the government and start making a bunch of bank off of it, and guess what? It doesn't turn out very well. It's a fun flick that combines comedy and tension really well. I also think Miles Taylor does a really good job here too. This is one I haven't seen since theaters, so I definitely want to check this one out sometime here soon. I just remember always really enjoying it, and I think this is kind of a harder one to come by, so to find it for $1 is awesome. Keanu is one I remember liking in theaters, but I've never had much of a desire to pick it up, so I was pretty happy to grab it for only $1. Key and Peele is a great comedic duo, and I love their skit show, and if you're a fan of the Key and Peele show, then you're probably going to like Keanu if you haven't seen it already. For special features, it comes with Keanu, my first featurette, deleted scenes, and gag reel. The House was one that I didn't really care to go see in theaters. It looks incredibly average, but for $1 I'm willing to give it a shot. This is one that will definitely go into the random box to be drawn later. After looking at the trailer footage for this film though, I don't think I'm going to like it. It's about a mother and father turning their house into a casino to help pay for their daughter's college tuition, so yeah, I don't know. Fist Fight was one that I probably would have seen in theaters if the theaters in my area had it longer than a week. I personally really like Charlie Day, and this movie looks just really stupid that it could be fun. I haven't gotten around to watching it just yet, but for $1 I had to grab it so I could watch it at some point. It might just end up in the random box, but who knows, maybe I'll watch it sooner than that. For special features, it really only comes with deleted scenes, but I just kind of hope this is a dumb, funny movie. I picked up Magic Mike because I thought it was on my bucket list scratch-off poster I have. Turns out it's not. However, this is a Steven Soderbergh film with a pretty great cast, so who knows, maybe it's decent. Steven Schroederberg is a director that I've liked some of his films, and I mean, he's a little bit hit or miss, but I've enjoyed him kind of as a director. It's one that will definitely go into the random box to be watched later. Funny enough though, the film does come with an alternate cut that will play all the dance sequences back to back. So basically getting rid of all the story and just having the stripping. It also comes with extended and deleted scenes and a making of. I grew up as an Ozzy fan thanks to my mom blasting Blizzard of Oz and No More Tears on cassette tape, so I'll have to be checking out the Ozzy documentary at some point. I've heard good things from a buddy of mine who's a huge Ozzy fan. For special features, you get a Q&A with Ozzy and Jack, some deleted scenes, and a featurette on the Tribeca Film Festival. Definitely excited to check this one out at some point. Anthem of Teenage Prophet sold me on its box art and Juliette Lewis, but it does star Cameron Monaghan, who I'm not a big fan of. To me, he's very similar in line delivery as Kristen Stewart and is normally the weakest part of whatever project he's involved in. Sorry. I haven't watched this one yet, but I grabbed it to pretty much throw in the random box to watch later. It seems like a lot of these SP Echo Bridge releases are bare minimum and don't come with any special features, so that kind of sucks, but we'll see. I grabbed Forbidden Empire because it looked like it could be a fun fantasy movie, and it was $1, so why not? As I was watching Iron Mask, I had to pause the movie as I saw similar characters that were on the box art of Forbidden Empire, and after looking at it, Iron Mask is actually a sequel to this movie. Now, you don't need to see Forbidden Empire to watch Iron Mask. The films feel about as tied together as like a Mad Max movie would. Unfortunately, we didn't get around to watching this one quite yet, but I do want to watch it sometime here soon after having such a good time with Iron Mask. Bonus features, we get a making of, interview with Jason Fleming, behind the scenes footage, and trailer. I'll pretty much buy anything from Scream Factory on DVD or Blu-ray for under $5, and I'll Take Your Dead feels like an interesting take on the old haunted house story. Basically, it's about a guy who works as a cleaner for gangs. Gangs bring him dead bodies and he does away with them, but their spirits kind of end up staying in his house and his daughter can see them. There's some really fun and cool ideas here, and the child performances is pretty good, but it's not a perfect film. Some effects look bad, some acting can be a little hit or miss, but overall it's a pretty fun film and I would recommend giving it a shot. For special features, we get a behind the scenes, deleted scenes, script to screen comparison, which I've never seen before on a special feature, so that's really cool, and some trailers. Baadasssss Cinema is a documentary focusing on the blaxploitation movement, and it's a pretty cool piece focusing on a really interesting movement in film history. It's basically just a string of interviews, but the passion of the people being interviewed is really great to see and helps tell the story. It's a short documentary, I think made for TV, coming just shy of an hour. We do get some deleted scenes with the feature, but if you're a fan of like film history or blaxploitation films, then I would highly recommend this one. James Franco's Mad Max inspired Future World is pretty awful. God, this movie was so boring. There's no character development, even though they think there is in this film. The performances are bad from pretty much everybody, even including Franco, and nothing really happens in this film. The best thing I can say about the film is the set design, the wardrobe, makeup work is all pretty good, but everything else is bad. Like, I really wouldn't recommend this one. It has incredibly low ratings and scores, and I can see why. I've been curious about this for a long time, and after watching it, oof. I grabbed The Killer because it's John Woo with Chow Yun Fat. What else would you want? I haven't gotten around to watching this one quite yet, but I see myself watching it sometime here soon. John Woo is a director I've been wanting to dive more into, so I'm pretty excited to check this one out. Just been a little too busy watching other bullshit. Special features, we get an interview with John Woo, Q&A with Woo, and a featurette on the locations used in the film, and a trailer gallery. I also really want to check out Hard Boiled, so I'm gonna have to try to get that at some point too. I grabbed Noma, My Perfect Storm, for Autumn. She loves watching cooking shows, so this documentary is something I thought she would really like. We haven't got around to watching it quite yet, but if you're interested, it is available for free on YouTube, which is something I didn't know about until now. I'm curious to see what it's like to work at a high-end restaurant like this. I'm sure it's probably pretty stressful, but it's probably pretty interesting too. The documentary comes with some deleted scenes, testing the menu, featurette, cuisine gallery, and theatrical trailer. So we're gonna have to get around to watching this one at some point. I feel like this back half, I always say that with like these like Dollar Tree DVD pickups. I'll get around to watching it at some point. Iron Wolf is one of those movies that I think to myself, why did I buy this? I know this is going to be terrible, and all I can hope for is that it's like fun terrible, which after watching the trailer to get footage for this video, I highly doubt it will be. It doesn't seem to come with any special features, and it's at this time a 2.5 out of 10 rating on IMDb, which does not help its cause to be watched here soon. All the Money in the World is a movie I've been curious about for a little while. It's directed by Ridley Scott and has a pretty great cast, but is probably most known for originally starring Kevin Spacey. This film was slated to come out right around the time Kevin Spacey's controversy exploded, so they went through and completely reshot his scenes. He was replaced with Christopher Plummer, who definitely does a good job. He's a great actor too. This film though is pretty alright. I mean, overall all the performances are pretty decent. The story about a wealthy man's greed is never ending, but it's nothing really that stands out to me as that special. The special features come with a featurette on reshooting the film, so I would really like to check that out, as well as a featurette with Ridley Scott and cast, but I doubt I'll upgrade this one to Blu-ray unless I find it like a Dollar Tree or like a dollar store for a couple bucks. It's not bad. I mean, if you're interested in this movie, I would definitely say checking out because you might like it more than I did. Luna is a movie I've never heard of but looks super interesting. From the box art to the trailer, there's some really cool character designs, and I'm gonna have to watch this one sometime soon. It was put out by the BBC and comes with a making of and an audio commentary from the director Dave McKean. It looks like it blends live action and animation, and it feels somewhat like Burton-esque. It looks really cool, and I really do want to check this one out sometime here soon. Look at this cover. Now add the fact that Gary Busey's in it. Yeah, I know. You'd buy it for $1 too. We haven't gotten around to watching this one yet, but it looks like it could be a pretty fun movie. At least I hope it will be. For special features, you only get an interview with the cast, but I mean, look at that artwork. This is probably one that will go in the random box, but I'll definitely be smiling when I pull it out to watch it. The last DVD I grabbed at Dollar Tree was Invisible Sue, and it is not very good. I think it probably would have been a much more passable film if the film included the original audio. It's a German film, I think, but this DVD only comes with English dubbed audio tracks. It is super annoying. You have no option to watch it with the original audio, no matter what it's dubbed. It comes with like a couple English tracks too. It's a film about kids getting superpowers, and I think even with the original audio it'd be very bland and not that good, but since the movie's only dubbed, it's honestly barely watchable. Now, one of the last things I got this month was some VHS releases of the Wacky Adventures of Ronald McDonald. My buddy Mike picked them up for me, so thanks my dude. I had a handful of these as a kid, and thinking back, these might have actually been my copies. Let me backtrack a bit. My buddies and I were talking about these cartoons from our childhood, and talking about them, it definitely makes me want to make a video on them. A video that I'm still planning on doing, but it's going to be pretty far into the future more than likely. So my buddy Mike found these at a used bookstore, and he grabbed them for me to have like as like a collector item because he knows I'm wanting to do a video on them. Plus they were like $1 a piece or something, but thinking back, they're from the same bookstore I traded mine into. About 3 years ago, I sold some of my VHS tapes to them to basically get rid of them because we were moving and didn't really have the room, and nor do I really care about keeping VHS that much. Looking back, it's a decision I highly regret and wish I would have kept. But I had 4 of these VHS Mickey D tapes, and he found 3 of the 4, and it just makes me wonder if they're the same tapes. I like to think they were. It'd be really cool if they were. Either way, I'm looking forward to revisiting these for the video. Hopefully they'll get a re-release at some point, but I doubt it. Anyways, that's been the December update. If you ever want to see my editing process for the videos I do, I'm starting to stream them on Twitch over at twitch.tv/themixslash, so follow me over there for some video editing streams. Let's talk about movies. Link will be in the description down below, and as always, thanks for watching. Peace.